Hello, everybody. It's been about 3 weeks or so since I talked to you last. So I wanted to jump on here before people get their pitchforks and head out, up the hill to try to, it's a Frankenstein reference, fire bad. Anyway, I'm being weird. Sorry. My brain this morning has been a little scrambled because I'm working on this book. So that's why I'm here. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm going to talk to you about the progress and what I've been doing. So I'm going to jump right into it here and pop up Grey Mage. Now, I've been working on Grey Mage for a while, and I've pushed it a couple of times, and I feel like I need to explain it somewhat. I did this because this book is the biggest of the Mage books. It's the longest. It's about 5,000 words more than any other Mage book, than the biggest Mage book. I think Black Mage is the biggest right now. Blue Mage is the smallest. And just as a side note, when I wrote Blue Mage, I did go back and try to. I was going to add some more to it. I was planning on adding some chapters and stuff. And then after I read, I was like, well, it's pretty much done. I didn't want to add more to it and make it feel like filler. Well, this particular book, Grey Mage, it has no filler, and it's coming in at, like I said, pretty hefty, but it is done. However, for the most part, if you know how I've organized my books, I haven't quite converted over to Dibbly Create yet. I was working on doing that a little bit, but I'm still doing my method that I do with Microsoft Word, where I have individual chapters, and I have another file where I keep all these chapters individually, and I write in that chapter. So there's a couple things like down here, like Aftershock is not really in this. This is my master file. And Aftershock I haven't put in my master file yet because I'm still writing that chapter. And there's another chapter down here that I need to write, Blood and Tears. I write out of order. I write like a movie director. I'll put in certain scenes, and I'll go back and put earlier scenes and things like that. The book, the last chapter is already written. It's finished. That's the last chapter. And if you notice, it says the book is 47,000 words. Like I said, there's several chapters that aren't quite in here yet. But that is a real count, meaning that if you start with chapter 1, there's no fluff here before. I don't have the glossary or anything in here yet. So this is just pure story. It's all pure chapter after chapter. So there's nothing in here right now that fluffs up the word count. So it's going to end up being around 55,000, maybe a little bit less. But anyway, the Mage books usually come in at 50,000, 50K. Some's a little bit under 50K. I try to make them all at least 50K. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This book was kind of difficult for me to write. And without going into too much detail, I didn't model it after my own life or the relationships in here after my own relationships. But there are aspects of them that remind me of my own relationships. So that's what made it kind of hard and difficult for me to write. It made me think about my own regrets and my own relationships, because this book ties back into Red Mage. It took me 4 books to get here, but you're finally going to get all the story from about Aslith and why he's hanging around Hannah, the Red Mage. This book ties all the way back into the very first book. So, and it ties into a little bit of the books as we've gone along. So that's one of the reasons why it's bigger. It's one of the reasons why it was harder to write. Each book in a series is more difficult to write than the last book in a series, because you do have to keep everything straight, and you do have to work on that. And I really wanted to tell this story, but I wanted to wait until I got to the Grey Mage to tell this rest of the story, because I've already told the Red Mage side, and I wanted to tell the Grey Mage side of it. And that then both halves, the Red Mage side and the Grey Mage side put together, will make the whole story. So you're going to see characters back again like Saren and things, because we're looking in the past. So without giving a spoiler, basically what's happened is Ephaltus doesn't ever go back and look at the past of mages before a tournament like he did when he was younger, because Ephaltus is about to retire. He doesn't care about going back and looking. He's worried about his own little thing that he's doing right now. But Marley is brand new. She's the apprentice tourney master. And so she wanted to know about their past, because she thinks it's relevant to the current tournament. And he's like, yeah, I used to be like you, but here, if you want to do that, you can go to the Ocularis Magnus and you can adjust it this way, and it will tell you about the past. And so Marley has been stuck, like watching the Ocularis Magnus, like like she's binging Netflix basically, and she's looking at the past. So we're going back to where before Grey Mage was even the Grey Mage, and so she's watching the story unfold, and then you get to see the story unfold. So we get to go back and look at it. Um, and there's times, she forgets that she's looking at the past, that these events have already happened. So there's times when she forgets that, and she really wants to go back and help things and fix things, and help, warn people, but she can't, and she doesn't realize, she keeps having to be reminded and remind herself that she's looking at past events that's already happened. So, but anyway, so this book has been a bear to write. It's been really difficult. I'm days away from finishing. So here's the scoop. I've been editing this and having it edited as I go along. So because I knew that it was taking me a long time, so I went ahead and submitted that kind of stuff and got some of the editing done. So all I really have to do when I get finished with the final chapters is just go through one final check, format it, get it ready for, make it chapter by chapter, format everything, and then put it out. So we're talking days. We're days away from Grey Mage. So this is another thing that I wanted to bring up once I get past here about Grey Mage is White Mage. So I did have the White Mage up for pre-order because I wrote part of these together. And so what I was trying to do is make, hang on, why does this pop up in a weird spot? Sorry, let me try that again. I was writing part of these at the same time because some of the story overlaps into White Mage. And so I do have White Mage already planned out and not completed. I haven't really written anything. This is the master file anyway. All these chapters, if I did write anything, they're going to be in the individual chapters in my individual chapter folder. But I've got them all done here, and I've got it all outlined. It's ready to go. I've modeled this after I was watching Amadeus again from 1984, the movie, and so I got the idea that I love bards, and when I role play games with my friends, I usually play bards and storytellers, and so I made these chapters, have to do with music, like libretto. That's like a screenplay for operas. So we're gonna have the way I've organized White Mage is the first movement that'll be when she's a kid, when she's young and everything, and then second movement she's older and stuff and so forth until we get to the fourth movement, and each one of them is faster and has more to do with it. Fia is one of my favorite characters, and she's been in pretty much every book. I think she has been in every book. And then of course the finale here, and then of course there's the Faltus chapters in between. And then we'll have book 7, and I haven't really revealed book 7 yet and what it's called or anything. It's Enter the Arena. It's the actual tournament that's going to happen in book 7. But I wanted to tell you guys that even though this is planned, and even though part of this is written because I wrote it with Grey Mage, that's another reason why Grey Mage has taken so long for me to get out, and I keep having to push it. I'm probably going to take a break after Grey Mage for about a month and write something else because I just need a break from this story a little bit, and it needs to kind of marinate. I need a kind of a vacation from it, and it'll be a lot better story when I come back to it. It's still going to be here by the end of the year. We're still going to get White Mage completed before Christmas. I'll have it done before Christmas, but I am going to take probably October off to write, I don't know, Vampire Story or maybe my Gunpowder Magic and Lead book, which is about basically a wizard that it's fantasy, but it's set in the 1800s. It's like a kind of a gas lamp fantasy. I've got it ready to go. It's already half written, so I want to kind of write it. So I'm going to take a few weeks and work on something else and let myself kind of let the White Mage story kind of and the rest of the Mage story just kind of marinate and kind of even out, and then I'm going to go back to it because Grey Mage has been pretty taxing on me mentally, and I just kind of want to take a break from it. So I'm not going to abandon it. It's not going to be like between Black Mage and Green Mage where it was like a year or two. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be just a month or so. But I will work on White Mage. I mean, you'll get Grey Mage here pretty soon, and then I know you guys, it takes me forever to write them, and you read them in like 2 days. So I know that it's still going to seem like a long time before you get White Mage, but it'll be here quicker than you think. And shoot, I may finish this other book and then be ready to get into White Mage right away. But I just wanted to warn you guys that I did take it. It was for pre-order. I did take it off of pre-order and kind of pushed it aside for a minute. That's why. And I think it's going to be a lot stronger book and a lot stronger story if I give myself a couple of weeks to let it, to just let it kind of, it's kind of like when you work at a job and you're working on a big project and you just finished a big major project and you just kind of want to, have a little bit of downtime and go, oh, I want to do something else for a minute. And then you go back and you're ready to tackle the next big project, because White Mage is a big project. That's kind of where I'm at. And my original thought was I'm going to write both books at the same time. And it just didn't work out that way because there was so much in Grey Mage that I wanted to do that I didn't, anyway, I'll shut up about it. The point is that I'm going to take a little bit of time and write something else. So there's going to be something else that's going to come out in the interim, because like I said, I've already got a couple of books that are half done. I just need to finish them. And then I'll jump back in on White Mage. And then the 7th book, the final book, it's going to take me a while to finish it because there's a lot in it. The actual tournament's going to happen. All the storylines are going to come to fruition. You're going to find all the stuff with Ephaltus and what he does, and Marley and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a big book. It's going to touch on every single life we've gone through so far through the Mage series. All of them are going to have a section in that book. And then, so I'm planning on starting it probably in January. So Grey Mage is about to come out in a few days. White Mage will be out by the end of the year sometime. Hopefully November, maybe December. Then in January, I'm going to take a little bit of break there for Christmas and stuff. Then January, I'm going to start on the 7th book, the final book. And then we will have a complete set of the Mage books. That's my plan. That's what I'm sticking to. I just want to take a little bit of time off, then I'll get back into it. So anyway, someone was asking where you can find my books. I always put my books down in the description. So they're universal links. So no matter where you buy your books, your ebooks or your print books, you can find a link there. It's linked to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, any place that you buy books. There's a link to it. So you can go down to the description and look at those. Also, that's the best way probably to support me right now, because this channel, they've kind of changed the rules. When I get to 500 subscribers, I'll be able to kind of maybe monetize stuff depending on how much you guys watch the channel. But for now, I don't have any income except for the books. And I did make a Patreon. And if you want to support me that way, that's great. I'm going to put some chapters in there, so advanced chapters. So if you want to see some of White Mage and stuff before it's published, that's the way to go. Also, down in the description, there should be a link to my Discord, which I just started here recently. That's where you can get a hold of me like immediately, and you can talk to me and interact with me on Discord. And I do have one book that I'm working on there to read. It's not family friendly. It's called Beer Run, and it's basically a story I'm trying to start a new pen name with, but that's going to happen later. But I did post most of that book that I've been working on there. So if you don't mind curse words and things like that, and some little bit more adult themes, then you can read that. But I'm going to put probably some more chapters from books, from my Cleave Bourbon books in my Discord as well. So, if you want to join that, everybody's welcome to pop in there and join that if you want. Otherwise, Patreon. But like I said, I'll never come out and just say, hey, other than asking you to buy my books, because, that's obviously, I want you to read my books. I'll never ask you for anything else, for any kind of money or anything like that. If you want to do it, it's completely up to you. I'm not going to, I will give you as much value as I can for it if you do, but that's completely up to you. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I said this video was going to be short, so I do want to do that. I just kind of want to jump in here and tell you what I'm working on and why I haven't really made very many YouTube videos in the last couple of weeks. Those of you who are here for my grammar, if you've listened this long and you're still here for grammar, I will have some grammar out here pretty soon. Some more English classes kind of thing, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to be next on the list but I will have something out here pretty soon. Just let me get finished with Grey Mage, and then I'll be a little bit more, forthcoming with all this other stuff. And I'll probably make a video right after Grey Mage is done. So anyway, thank you guys, and I will see you later.